she lost another one.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us for Childhood Rewind. Why are you looking at me like that?
Who?
We're downstairs because I don't have someone set up upstairs yet. And when I went upstairs, he started losing his mind.
Welcome to puppy life.
So he just climbed out of his bed to burrow underneath my blanket again. Goodbye personal space. It's cool.
Well, let us crack on, as they say.
The first one is, I believe I have these in order. Because I don't know how I wrote them out of order last night, but the first one is The Tale of the Doll Maker, correct? Okay. Here we go. And please excuse these edits this week. There was so much in both episodes. I tried to just get the highlighted parts and stick within the time frame, but here we go.
Tale of the Doll Maker. And she could remember, Melissa spent weekends now and then at her aunt and uncle's house in the country. For the first few visits, it was pretty much a total drag. But then the Hendersons moved in next door. Even though they only saw each other a few times each year, Melissa and Susan Henderson quickly became best friends.
Where's Susan? The Hendersons moved back to town early this spring. Melissa, I really don't think you should be snooping around up here. Now, come on. I'm not. Last winter, Susan disappeared.
What do you mean disappeared?
No one knows what happened to her. One minute she was there, the next she was gone. The whole town came out. We searched everywhere.
What Marge Henderson said about the house, did you?
She might hear you. No, of course not. Anyway, Marge was beside herself with grief. She didn't know what she was saying.
Maybe not, but she said it pretty clearly. It was the house that got her.
Cool.
Susan!
Vandalism.
What gets me is that the glass did not break like how it was supposed to.
Mm-mm.
Dollhouse.
She rocking those working on the
What's wrong
railroad.
with you? You look just like a doll. But how? What's happened to you? Oh my God. The door? There's... Okay.
sweetheart?
I disappeared just...
You know, that's totally normal for a kid to just emerge and start.
So, oh wait, wrong page. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the first thing I had is the grown-ups in this situation lie about what happened.
Well, here's the thing: the uncle wanted to tell the truth. The aunt kept lying, and then when she did tell the truth, she gave the slip. It would be like if she was cutting a steak, she cut it so paper thin and was like, here you go, you hungry? You hungry?" Like if you wanted to, this is what really got me. If you wanted to keep this child out of that house, just tell her the truth, because that would have kept her out. All this secrecy and you lying to me and whispering behind my back. You notice, look, because there was a part where she was on the phone with her mother. Oh, my friend isn't here. What am I supposed to do? They don't even have cable. What else did y'all think she was gonna do? She out there getting her Nancy Drew on.
Mm-hmm. I had that too, and then again going in the house without permission again twice.
In the vandalism.
Then
You
we
want to
got
your friend's parents. Why the window busted when the aunt and uncle have been charged with taking care of the house? Whose check is that coming out of? Because they ain't coming out of mine.
mine neither, baby. Just saying. And we got white peopling.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the glass didn't make the sound. Like if you break a glass with a hammer, that thing is going to shatter. Like shatter.
Yes. Yeah, we learned that last summer when I accidentally locked myself out for the second time. And don't ask me why I had a hammer outside with me the second time. Because I
And
don't know.
and then I put for my last thing for this movie, Jesus Christ, episode is the dollhouse and the house combined to make a doll. I was like, Dad, all right, okay.
My thing is, I like the house from Encanto. I don't like the doll. I don't like the house from this. No. Like, what we like clean up or get some work done or make lunch. You gotta turn me into a porcelain doll, and then on top of turning me into a porcelain doll, you letting my limbs fall off?
Then
Because my
also,
great, great, great grandmother and great, great, great aunt lived together their entire lives. But on the second floor of their house, they had a porcelain doll collection. And I got one of the dolls, but over the years it kind of disintegrated because I don't think a lot of people realize the whole doll isn't porcelain. The head, the hands, and if there are exposed feet are what's porcelain. Everything else is like stuff with cotton. Like, why are you letting me fall apart? Like, house, why am I falling apart though?
then my sorry, I have one more point. And then we can move on to our favorite. I had that when she first tried to move the bureau where the attic was supposed to be. She's like, I can't do it. Then she runs to her friend, and she's like, you need to help me. And then it was like, yo, dude, my hands are falling off. Which you want me to do? I can't push anything.
Like, girl, I
Then
can't
she,
even talk.
then she somehow becomes the Grinch with a heart of three times that grew 3 sizes that day and pushes the bureau down. I'm like, well, wait, you said you couldn't do it, and now you can. The power of love and friendship. I was like,
Yeah,
girl.
the thing is, if I'm in a panic, especially if fight or flight kicks in,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I know I get strong as hell.
Of
Strong as
course. The
hell.
adrenaline running through your body gives you that strength. But I'm just like, she wasn't. I guess she wasn't pressed enough to do it until after the fact. But whatever.
Like, girl, you tied string to a door that disappeared. But the string was still attached to something because you're pulling it and you're getting tension to let you know you're going in the right direction. Then all of a sudden the string disappears and so does the door, and that does not freak you out enough. And then you want to go exploring before you go get your friend. No, go get your friend so you don't have to double back because you don't know what you're doubling back to. You know what? White people shit. White people shit. That's white people shit.
All right, let's move on because I have enough on this.
This is our all-time favorite. Here we go. I've been waiting on this one. Woo!
Tale of the Bookish Babysitter. Belinda was everybody's favorite babysitter. Her advertisement in the newspaper said, "For kids who hate babysitters." That's it. And a phone number.
Oh, Belinda! I almost forgot.
Thursday, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, how did you...
See you then. Good evening, Mrs. Winter. I'm Belinda. Hey, move! Tell you what. You read a book for a few minutes and I'll leave you alone the rest of the night. Deal?
How many minutes?
Oh, I don't know. Let's say 5. Aloud, please. I like to hear them.
Raged across the moors. The hideous witch flew closer to the lonely cottage, swooped down and banged. Believe me, I know boring.
Well, it's not like TV, you know. You have to give yourself a chance to get into the story.
Yet now all was silent, all was still, as if the very memory of these dreadful events continued to haunt the
Melancholy?
Yeah, that's it. This one's lousy too.
Once you start a book, you really should finish it.
Me do. Why don't you... There's a...
Night in your bedroom and a ghost in the hall. I know. You're reading, did you? See, they came from books. Now, if you help me, we can get rid of them. Ricky, let me in.
What's going on?
What imagination!
You are into the stories now. You have to finish them. You really think you're ready for this?
I don't get it. What's the big deal? Oh, man! He knew the answer.
Heart pounding, enveloped in the magical golden blaze.
This author has your name.
The Dark Tomb.
Oh, Belinda, how much do I owe you?
I've already been paid, Mrs. Winter. Ricky searched all over the library, but he never found another copy of The Dark Tomb by Ricky Winter, or any other of the books that Belinda brought over.
I love that episode. I wish we could watch it again, but we can't.
And trust me, I tried. I looked at the parameters like, is this one that I can play over again? I can't.
I love this episode. There's one more I like too, but it's not told by Betty Ann. It's told by her friend Sam. When we get to it, we'll get to it.
I know which one you're talking about. I think.
Most people don't, but we'll see if you can. But no, I like this episode one because there's a lesson learned at the end. And there's an actual beginning, middle, and end to this. Whereas most episodes, it's kind of left open as if the monster is gone or not, or that this thing could happen again or not.
I also like it because it's no secret. I'm a huge bookworm. And given that he was less involved in TV and actually started going to the library, and I love the whole use your imagination thing. I guess that's why I'm so into comics and sci-fi and things like that, because it pushes your imagination. And D-Mac, you know this from conversations we have offline. I wish I could have had a babysitter like that. Like she is what I wanted Mary Poppins to be. And this is no knock on Mary Poppins. Please, y'all don't come for me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for me and the type of child and the type of adult that I am, Belinda was my Mary Poppins. That's what I wanted Mary Poppins to be.
I think stick up in there. I think, and if we're gonna be honest, I think the nanny magical shenanigans. I think for her, if we're because there's a lot of theories online. There's a whole bunch of them. I think that this one nanny adjusts to the situation.
Yes.
And I think what happens is Mary Poppins knew who needed saving. She knew those kids didn't need saving. She knew that they were plenty fine on their own. She knew who really needed the saving and what needed to actually happen. So she had to adjust to say, oh, well, I'm here to take care of these kids. Secretly, I'm here to make sure that you fall in line and make sure that you're paying attention to these kids, because that's the real problem.
Yeah.
And then with Nanny McPhee, she knew what needed to happen. She knew the answer already. She knew what was going to happen. She's just like, well, I guess I got to put in the work. Let me get this thing done. And so, again, she adjusted herself. And then you have Belinda here who adjusts herself to the situation at hand. Now, most of the times, the parents in this situation, they had extenuating circumstances. They couldn't be there. And most of the kids were like around, I'll say 10 and under. And they already knew the game. They knew the game. They knew the gate from the get-go. So with this situation where the boy is a bit older, he was 12, I think she said.
Yeah, he was 12.
So he's already formed in his mind, I don't really need a babysitter. I'm old enough to stay home on my own. And the mom's like, no, you're not. Not in my house. Not the house that I pay for. Not today. So she hires Belinda, and see, he's already formed in his mind, a babysitter, joy kill, everything. He's already formed that mental note is already formed in his head. So when she gets there, she's like, oh, I'm gonna get a good book out of this one. This is gonna be one of the best ones I got. Because again, she's already used to children's imaginations. When you do a preteen, it's a whole different ball game.
We don't know where the father was, but I am glad that we had a present parent who was like, I'm not just going to leave you alone, because she knows her child. Because my mother told me when I was pregnant with my first son, Address each child on the level that they're at, and that doesn't have anything to do with age. I didn't get what she meant at first, but then as my kids started to, I was like, oh, I get it. But I think Belinda was the first super nanny.
Besides Mary.
Cause I'm like, cause he had decided he was the man of the house and he was just gonna run things because testosterone levels. And he didn't care about nothing else. Because as much as his mother was trying, and she wasn't overbearing, she wasn't a toxic parent, she wasn't one of those do what I say, not what I do type of parents. She was trying, from the snippets we had with her in there, trying to set a good example for him and trying to get him to follow good examples, but he just kept going against the grain. And then here comes Belinda, like, no, sir, we're going to teach you, and we're going to teach you through literature, and y'all know I'm all about that.
Yeah, no, I think her approach, and see, she approached the situation and
One moment, sir, Sir Urbane, do not eat your bed. Because if you eat your bed, well, I mean, you got another one, but where you gonna sleep? Here, play with eat your toy. Here, I can still see you. Lord have mercy.
girl, you decided to get a puppy.
He really thinks that because I'm not looking directly at him, I can't see him. And y'all, that's the little furball right here. 4.5 pounds of mischievous bouginess. I mean, the bougie part is my fault. Don't say nothing, D-Mac. Don't. I did what I did. I said what I said.
Anyway, so yeah, and I like that she approached that. I don't need a payment. Your children pay me. Your children pay me, so I'm good. My form of currency is not your form of currency. And I was just like, yeah, see, now that's the kind of nanny we need. I ain't gotta pay you, my children pay you.
But see, I wish they would have done a part two, because the little boy in the beginning that had that look of disdain, like she still hadn't got through to him. I wanted a part
Wait,
two to see
wait,
her with.
the one where the mother was just like she needed her Thursday at 7.
Because that little boy's look, I was like, you trying to hold out. I need a part two where she gets you. Like, I understand the part two might be a little bit down the line, but Paramount, if you watching, I mean, you could give us like a reunion where they give us like one or two stories as adults where they just meet up. I mean, if we got it with it, I mean, we could get it with Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm just saying. And I'm like, one of your major cast members does have a podcast on this here YouTube. And he's asked, and just
Which one, the older brother or the younger brother?
the older brother.
Mm.
I'm just, to give us like a little, where are they, like, just have everybody meet up and with, like, maybe they're there for a class reunion or something, and everybody gets all nostalgic and meets in the woods at the same spot, and maybe combines with, no, we don't like the new kids, so scratch that. We discovered in
The
that
new kids, not the ones in 2000 new kids.
If we got some new kids, possibly. Y'all just got to make.
No, I'm just saying there was a new set, because the original season only goes from 1 to 5. Then 6 and 7 are the younger brother and a new set of kids.
No, I'm talking. I don't. We can. No, I'm saying because they had the 2004 2005 version. I'm like, don't use those kids. Like, if you happen to get there and there's a new Midnight Society, don't use them kids. Don't. We didn't like them kids. Remember? When we watched that?
I'm talking about the ones in the two, because theirs was from 1997 to 2000, which justified over 6 and 7.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if there's a new Midnight Society, make them completely different kids, please. and like let the old heads come through and do a mixture. Do a mixture of the older siblings, younger siblings, like whoever can come back for whatever this event is going to be.
Yeah.
He keeps going back there. I'm tired of arguing with him.
Oh, Pop's gonna take him upstairs.
No, he's wondering why Sir Urbane is now behind his bed. He keeps. I'm not arguing with him. I'm just. And we're having decorating difficulties because where I put his little pup tent, he decided with his 4.5 pound self to move it to the middle of the floor because I guess he thinks he's supposed to be the center of of attention and the star of the show. I mean, I can't blame him. Look who his fur mommy is, but yeah, we gonna work this out.
All right.
I feel like I'm gonna lose, but we're gonna work this out. Okay, here is my question. I want you to answer this, and whoever in the comments can feel free to answer it, whether while live or later. What would your story have been at 12 years old?
I don't even know. Because I probably would have read the book back to front, and God only knows what would have happened.
And see, that's what I thought about myself. At first, I was like, would I have actually? I wouldn't have switched books because the first books did start off sounding awesome to me. I still to this day kind of want to know how that story went, but I get, for context, they had to mix it up because he was so used to TV shows. Just like when he was like, oh, he had a Uzi in the basement. Dude, how you fighting a knight with a Uzi? Come on, let's get continuity. But I would have stuck with the first story and with the whole witch thing. I think mine would have kind of morphed into like a witch in the wardrobe type of thing. Because I was very much into that at 12 years old.
At 12. Thinking about it, I would say I would probably have gone with. See, 12 years old, I had just gotten into anime. I had just gotten into. I was already into Disney. Let's be honest. So mine might have been a combination of the two.
See, I hadn't discovered anime yet. I was like 15 when I discovered anime. From my one uncle who, that's why I got hooked on comics. And I think somebody he worked with said something about anime, and he was just like, "Hey, you want to watch this?" I'm like, "Okay." Okay, now, as an adult, what would your story be? Because I think at this point I would have like, what was that movie with Taraji P. Henson? Oh, it'd be like a combination of Mary, The Born Supremacy, and Taken 3. Because right now I don't know. Right now I'm feeling very action, and maybe because that's just not my regular life. So I'm like, if I'm gonna have a fantasy life, let it be the most exciting. Oh, and a sprinkling of what I perceive. And once again, this is what I perceive the new James Bond to be. While they're debating on whether it should be a black man or should be a woman, what I perceive it to that it should be. What are you do? What are you doing?
As an adult. See, my problem is I have so.
What are you reading?
No, something just popped up on my computer screen. I was like, "What?" It's like, "What is this? Excuse me?" Oh, I love these phishing emails. It's so fun.
Oh, yeah.
This is our final attempt to reach you for your refund. Obviously, you ain't trying hard enough. If that's your final attempt. Well, oh well. Oh, I missed out on you robbing me blind. Oh no. Um, I think mine would be a combination of Mean Girls slash Clue, um, with a little bit of oh, what's the name of that movie? I'm looking at it and I can't think of it. I'm trying to find it. With Atomic Blonde on the side.
Ooh, ooh, that. Ooh, I could. Ooh, ooh. I see the cohesiveness there. I see how that could work. Ooh.
Um,
Want that story to end. I would just keep adding chapters. That's a good combination.
Let's discuss this. We have a movie here that literally breaks the fourth wall before fourth wall breaking was done, or done in movies anyway. I'll say that because you have you had in comics you had Deadpool who was constantly breaking the fourth wall.
Oh yeah.
So comics was taken care of, but in movies it had not been done until this movie in the 1980s, The Neverending Story. Because I got into watching that last night. Well, not last night, this weekend. And I looked at it and I was just like, is she breaking the fourth wall? What?
Until you just said that, it
And
never dawned on me that she was breaking the like soon as you said that, I started like my mind started like pulling up my how did I miss that?
because you look at it, because here's the thing. She literally breaks it in her last conversation to Atreyu. And she was just like, no, you brought him here. He's suffered with you. He's gone. All your excitement, your adventures. He shared that, just like everyone else is sharing his, i.e., us, the audience, out in the movie theater. And I was just like, well, wait a minute. How did I miss this? How did I miss that this chick was talking about us sharing his adventure while he was sharing his adventure? Wait a minute.
As
Y'all
many
couldn't have been thinking that far ahead.
as
No.
many times as I've watched it, how did I
said,
promise you, and I've told you this before. I think sometimes when I watch movies, I see and hear what I want to see and hear. I really do.
because she literally looks at Trey. She's just like, you brought him. He came with you. And so we in the audience we in the audience were kind of stunned, but we're not stunned. And he's just like, brought him with you? What are you talking about? And she's just like, yeah, all your adventures that you went on, he went on them with you. Just like the others who have gone on his adventures. They were with him when he hid in the dumpster. They were with him when he took the book with the orange symbol from the bookstore. And I was just like, wait a minute, is she talking about us? The shade. The absolute dishonor. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your whole family for that, ma'am. Dishonor.
Now I gotta watch it again with this new information.
Because I'm like, chick, how you gonna sit there and come for my neck watching this movie? And I'm just like, nah, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna do that. But see, here's the bad part. Here's the bad part. There is the downside to this. Because again, in the first movie, follows the book somewhat to an extent. It doesn't follow it all the way. There are things missing that were not in there, which again, you can't put in everything. Just can't. There's only so much.
True.
Can only go so far. And especially back then, the special effects needed for what they needed to do in that book did not exist. They exist now, but they could never remake the Neverending Story. It's already been done.
Nope.
Good.
Leave it alone.
We're good.
Hollywood, leave it alone. Leave
We're
it
good.
alone. I know y'all done ran out of ideas. Go to some of these high schools. You will find new ideas from these students. Just pay them what they worth. Leave it alone. Don't do, I swear for God, if y'all touch the never ending story, I'ma touch you.
So when you look at the first movie shows the past, which is he hasn't given up on his past. He's still dealing with it. He's still embedded in his trauma. The second book, or the second half of the book, shows his present, where he's sort of moved on, but he still has things that him and his father, the relationship is still not where it could have been or should have been, even though the mother has died. So he's still dealing, but he's gone on. He's moved past the my mom has just passed. I don't know how to deal with my feelings. My dad isn't talking to me. He's literally shut down. You know what I'm saying? He's still dealing with that, but it's not to the same extent. Now, the first movie, again, shows when she gets to the end, he's just like, Fantasia can be alive, but it can be alive in you. Now, here's where we have problem number one. And I think the Grimoire explains this, but I'm going to get to that. He literally is now using his quote unquote limitless imagination to fuel Fantasia at this moment. And when she says as many wishes as you want. And it'll be more fantastical, more everything, blah, 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 blah. But see, here's the fine print. You don't tell him what he's losing with each and every wish.
True.
Which is explained in the second one, that each and every time he makes a wish, he loses a memory. And I'm just like, wait, that wasn't in the first one. So you mean to tell me he's been making all these wishes and he didn't realize he was losing his memory for that? Excuse me?
Yeah, that was shady. That was shady as hell.
I was like, ma'am, you should have told me that from the get-go. Don't not explain all the rules of the magic. See, that's like, oh gosh, I don't know if you've seen or heard of the Puella Magical Girl series. It's dark.
I just learned about it today.
It's
Yes,
dark.
I know I'm slow on the uptake. I just learned about it today because I ran into a lovely Black woman in Walmart, and that's what she said. Because she looked at me, and for some reason,
It's dark.
she was like, "You just seem like the type of person that would be into X, Y, and Z." And I was like, "I am." And she told me not to do that series. Should I listen to her?
It's dark. It's dark.
Okay.
Dark. I'll give you here we go. I'll give you the cliff notes.
That said something about me and was like, "Oh, this might be a little bit much for you." Is it? That's what I'm catching. This being put down.
Here's the cliff notes version. You make a wish to this person, and what happens is your soul no longer resides in your body. It resides in this little gem. So if you break or do anything to this little gem, you're dead.
Oh no.
Also, here's another thing. Your emotions are heavily tied to this thing. So if you break off and go bad or go rogue or do anything outside or get extremely angry and you taint this little jewel, you become basically a witch and they're going to come for your neck.
Yeah. Yep. That Black woman at the store sensed something in me, and she had some knowledge I didn't have and I know it's an irrational fear. I know that it is. I do not know why. Like from early preteenhood till now, I have an irrational fear of things like that. Like my spirit going into a gym and it having to be protected by somebody, and I get like,
Oh no, it's protected by you.
no, I'm saying this is my fear, and I get the worst person at protecting something. And Lord knows, we know I have a lot of jewelry. I don't wear a lot of it because I'm clumsy. You can't give me my own gym to take care of. The likelihood of me jacking this thing up is very high. very, very high. Okay. I jacked myself up taking trash to the dumpster. That's not something. No. See, sister girl seen me. I seen her. We first started talking about clothes, and then I don't know how we got into the other conversation, but she's like, "You just seem like you will watch this. I don't think this is for you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, didn't even know it exists, but thank you. High five, sister girl." And yeah, maybe I
Yeah,
do need to leave the house more often because I do have interesting conversations, generally with women of color out in public.
yeah. So yeah, no, that's not for you.
Mm-mm. Duly noted. I will not go down the rabbit hole. Mm-mm.
So back to the other one. Um, so then in the third movie we have The Future, which again was horrible. I never even watched the third movie. It's just terrible, and I feel bad for
Wait,
the
there was a
person.
third movie?
Oh yeah, there was a third one. It didn't go to theaters, darling. It didn't. It was direct to video, and
Ooh.
I felt bad for the person who did the third movie, mostly because he was riding the Free Willy fame and he was doing excellent in that genre, and somehow they tagged him into this one, and ever since then, nothing.
Yeah, because I don't think that was. Were we here yet by the time a third movie would have came?
I think this came out. Hold on. Give me a moment. Give me a moment.
Or it may have been that time period where I kept getting outvoted by my brothers for blockbuster movies, which is understandable. I was the minority.
It came out in 1993. I mean, four. Sorry, not four. Four. My bad.
Ah, yeah, that's when I had to pay for my own blockbuster membership. So a chick was broke. So
And then the second one came out in 1990.
yeah, I remember that one. I was still under my parents' account, but by 1994, yeah, I was broke. I was in college.
That was shame. That was funny. The first one came out in 1984. They waited 6 years. You couldn't just do it right then and there.
Interesting.
You could have just did it right after that one. That could have carried on to the second.
Well, you know what? Being a child, a lot of things, when I look back when I was a child, seemed like they were closer together than what they were. But yeah, by 94, I was having to pay for stuff on my own and being broke. Yeah. Uh, and y'all know about them college days.
Be a go course girl.
Eat. I chose to eat.
Yeah. So all the stars are still alive though. I hope.
Good, because my WKRP in Cincinnati crew is just, yeah.
Okay, no, he's still alive. He's 48, thank God, because they had an old picture of the main actor, and I was like, they had a young picture of the main actor. I was like,
Oh, yeah, because that's never a good sign when they throw.
I was just like, nah, don't be playing me like that. Don't be playing me. Don't play me like that.
Oh, and speaking of which, let me send out my condolences and my heartfelt prayers for the friends and family of former Miss USA Charlie.
So sad.
And just to reiterate to you all, you never know what somebody is going through. So be careful with your words and be careful with your actions because, as my daddy has always taught me, you don't live to yourself and you don't die to yourself. And your words do have power. Your words can have power to the better or power to the worse. So please be careful and please be mindful.
Of course, and I just feel bad because it was from such an iconic moment that both Miss Teen, Miss America, Miss USA, and Miss World were all black women. Like every category, a black woman had won it, and I felt so proud to be like, finally. I was just like, yes. I was like, oh my gosh, that was just when I saw that on Twitter, because it had exploded on Twitter, like exploded. Like Twitter was a buzz. People were all over Twitter just hyping them up, and I was like, thank you.
But
I
see,
was like, because like they took it back from when who was it? Was Halle Berry who had won, and then they took it away from her?
Vanessa Williams.
Vanessa Williams. Thank you. I knew it was one of them.
But here's the thing. This hit me different because right after we found out about all of the crowning, there was one thing I never talked to anybody about. My oldest daughter had gotten to such a low point and had hid it from everyone that she jumped off of a highway overpass right after the news broke about us just taking the world of pageants, minus Miss Universe, but Miss Universe was still a woman of color. So I still checked that off the box. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And as more stories came out, I found out that while she was going through her recovery, she was looking at these women and looking at what they had been through. And it helped her come back because technically my daughter shouldn't be able to walk today. But she can walk, she can play basketball again because she was all-star and lettered in several sports, mainly basketball and volleyball. And she was a prolific point guard. And was able to do that. She's my child that when y'all hear about me going horseback riding, that's my girl going, So to hear the news and as excited as I was for my team to finally be going back to the Super Bowl, I watched my team make it to the Super Bowl. I went to post on Instagram and the first thing that I saw was that story. And I was like, okay, I've lived long enough to know about death hoaxes. And I think it's very cruel and insensitive when people do that. Like, look at how many times they tried to kill off Betty White before she actually passed away. So I did some research and then I found out what happened. And that hit me different. That hit me different, especially on the heels of Regina King's son. It hit me different. And I have a very, very dear friend who unfortunately lost her son to suicide. And all I can say is do not take bonds lightly because can't nobody tell me differently. And I'm sorry my children had to share this trauma with each other. But if my oldest son wouldn't have been the first person on the scene because he sensed something was wrong and knew exactly where to find his sister, I think if anybody else would have found her first and other things wouldn't have happened, she wouldn't have fought to come back. But I raised my children to realize as much as mama loves you, mama's not going to outlive you, period. And to be each other's best friends and their sanctuary between themselves because the world can be cruel and even family can be cruel.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, I'm not wishing this and I'm not saying, oh, yeah, my children went through this trauma together. No. But there is something about somebody that you are so close to, seeing you at your darkest moment and never judging you. And I truly believe she needed that. Even when she cried out to me and kept asking me, are you mad at me? And I said no. And because of COVID, I couldn't be in there like I wanted to and wrap my arms around her. But I know as much as I love my children, they're closer to each other than they are with me. And that's fine. I love that. I love that. But once again, people, be mindful of what you say and what you do to people. Because there's a lot of clout chasing going on, and people are willing to dog people out thinking that they need to eliminate somebody else in order to shine. There is enough room for everybody to shine no matter what they choose to do. There's not one recording artist that only makes music for a whole year and then somebody else has to replace them. We can have 10,000 music artists. We can have 20,000 actors. That should let you know you all can shine together.
Yep.
But that's my 2 cents in my soapbox.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, and I know we curveballed. Um, but I think for this particular childhood rewind, we for this particular one, for this episode, the second episode that we watched, that was the one that stood out for the entire season. I mean, I think there's one other one on season 3 that I do like, but I don't know when we're going to be watching it.
My thing is, I don't know if my next favorite is in season 3 or the next. I don't know.
Give me one
These,
second.
I don't know. And some of these I'm hazy on what season they're in. Some I definitively know what season they're in. I don't.
Oh yeah, no, it's on season. There's one more on season 3 I do like, and then the other one is on season 4, and we won't get to it for a while.
Okay, is it one that's towards the end of season 3, right before we get to season 4?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna keep a pin in it.
You can guess if you like.
No,
I'll either.
I'm saying my second favorite. I'm gonna keep a pin in it, and just like last night when we hit the rolling and both of us was like, yeah, I want to see if we have that moment again.
Okay.
That's because I just want to see.
But so for next week, because I honestly have to go after this. I'm sorry. I beg your pardons. But for next week,
We're out of time anyway.
for next week, we have the Tale of the Carved Stone and the Tale of the Guardian's Curse. I mean, if you want to do a third one, we can do the Tale of the Quicksilver too. But if you want to just keep it to 2 for this week, that's fine. I don't care.
Let's play by ear like we did this week.
Okay.
See who shows up and see, because sometimes people get affected in different ways and have different memories. So we shall see. But final thoughts on this week?
Except for the first episode that we had watched, I enjoyed ourselves this time.
I did too. I did too. So I mean, that's all I got. So we're gonna hit the outro, and thank you all for joining us. Till tomorrow.